Good evening. Welcome to What's New. I'm your host, Teddy Parham, and there's just so much going on in this city. This is the city of Richmond, but I tell you, I just have to call it the Great Whore, because our government has screwed everybody that they've come in contact. They've hurt so many innocent people, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the school board meeting that myself and friends and associates went to last night. Mosby School is undergoing a renovation. They have torn down the little round buildings and they have cleared all of this land off. But even so they've done this, the land is still toxic underneath. And every black school in the city of Richmond has been built on a landfill. And after years and years and years, near 60 years plus, the gases build up, the poisonous gases, the carbon monoxide, the radon. I'm just telling you, the natural gases, they are killing the children. When these children sit in these classrooms for 6 hours a day, and these gases are influencing their behavior, a lot of them seem to be jittery, and the instructors, because they don't know how to manage the children, they suggest that a lot of them are put on Ritalin and different other medications. And if you ever seen anybody's child on Ritalin, you take a happy-go-lucky child and pump that Ritalin into them, and they become little zombies. So they just sit there all day. They don't ask questions, they participate, but that's what the medicine does. It controls their minds. And a lot of you all have sold your children out by allowing them to be put on these medications because you had no idea of what was going on in the schools. And I want to read you this letter from 2007, May, when I was part of the Legal Aid Society. For over 15 years, I worked with Legal Aid, on the advisory board, on all these boards, but the most important was I was on the executive board of directors, and I was the only black woman, and we had one, I didn't even call him a brother. I'm not going to call him a brother, but he was G, with McKeechin and G. He was the only black male on there. And I went to him several times and asked him to help me with the homeless problem, to help me with the seniors, and he didn't have time. So as I'm concerned, he's just another nigga that's put there to tear the people down. As I found out about legal aid has been a part of the problem. Legal aid has never sued but one time and got anybody any money. There are thousands of people that go to legal aid that need all kind of help, and they don't give you any help. If you notice, they will never help you get $1, and that's their job. If you had money to go to an attorney and pay for it, you would have had a lawsuit, you would have had a case. But because these pieces of trash are being paid by the city of Richmond, that's why you never receive any compensation. The ACLU is the same way with that sucking Kent Willis with this piece of trash self that's posing like a lawyer. I found out he doesn't have his law degree. So I'm going to read some of this information to you. This is a letter that was sent to me by Patrick Lavelle on May the 11th, 2007. Dear Ms. Parham, I am writing you because you are a member of our Client Advisory Council. At our most recent meeting, we mentioned that we might file a lawsuit against the Richmond City Public Schools because they have repeatedly failed to provide any educational services or any appropriate educational services to children with disabilities when they are suspended or expelled from school. Now, the same thing is happening now. 9, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 5 years later, the same problem is happening. But legal aid could sue the city of Richmond Public Schools for all this damage that they are doing to your children. But because the city of Richmond is piping money into their pockets, they are not going to bite the hands that feed them. If you have a child on Ritalin, have them reevaluated. Ritalin is a lifetime medication. When you start these children on Ritalin at 5, 6, 7 years of age and it gets in their system, it is killing them. It is literally killing them. Now, the rest of this letter says, I have enclosed a number of copies of a revised flyer explaining a possible lawsuit. I hope you will feel comfortable handing them out to anyone you know who either has experienced or might know of someone who has experienced these kinds of problems we are looking at a possible lawsuit. If you have any questions, please feel free to call one of our attorneys in Charlottesville who is working on this case. And it says her name and everything. But this goes to show you the problems with the city school have been plaguing and killing our children for years. Now I must say this to you. These Uncle Toms in office that are being paid hundreds of thousands of dollars are deliberately killing your children. Those that they don't kill, they have jail cells waiting for your children. They get paid, Woody and them at that jail get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars per year for locking black asses up. That's what they do, lock black people up. The few white Caucasians that go down there, these people have money. And their parents and loved ones bail them out, have the charges completely removed, but that still leaves our people in trouble. Number 2, I want to tell you about this. There's a female in this city, and her name is Ethel, and you call her Lady E. Well, I want you to know that Lady E is a crock, and I'm going to tell you about her. I met Lady E some years ago when I used to go to Glenn's and play chess and checkers and all that, and she was out there. And she told me about how she could sing and everything. So I invited her over to my house that I have now. And I used to have a lot of bands that come over to my house and rehearse because I am a musician. Now, one day I was standing in my foyer with Lady E, and she and I had a drink, and I said, we're going to have to get you a stage name, Lady E, Ethel, because I'm not going up on the stage and announce you as Ethel. I gave her that name after my 7-year-old niece, whose name is Essence. And I said, well, I call her Lady E. I say, that would be a good name for me to give you. And here is my right hand of God. If I'm lying, may he snap the breath out of my body right now. And you that believe in God, you know he can do that. I don't play with my Father above. I might laugh and I joke, but I know when it's time to be serious. Now, when I was telling you about this brutal beating that I took in Southside by one Kevin Ferguson, we were going to a friend of mine's whose name is Ted Phillips, who retired from the city of Richmond fire department. We were going to his retirement party. I had Lady E with me. I had a guy named Harold that worked at this social club. I had a chick named Carolyn. I had 6 people following me to this party. So anyway, I misplaced the directions. So we stopped at Church's Fried Chicken on Jeff Davis. And everybody went over there, and I spoke to this guy, and I asked him. He said, well, the place across the street is a little social club. The guy Frank says, yeah, he owns this place, and what I'm going to do is get Ted to come and get you guys and lead you over there to the party. So anyway, he told us we could go inside where all of us lined up, paid $7 a head to go in the door. And I was the first one because I was going to treat them. So we went on up in there. We had to pay $7 a head, all 6 of us. When we got to the door and I looked inside, I turned around and looked at them and I said, oh my God, every criminal, every child molester, every deadbeat father, every rapist. I turned around and I say, well, we had paid the money and they wouldn't give us the money back. So they said, well, let's take a seat. So I had just gone and had some root canal work done. So I wasn't drinking anything. And I went in and we helped pull the tables together so all of us could sit together. And I went to this little bar, and as I stood there and looked around, I noticed that the club is called Destiny. I looked around and noticed that they only had one exit, same way in, same way out, but it had to have been 100 people up in that hole. And as I was standing there in line to buy them drinks, I saw this chick take this beer bottle. She was in line in front of me, and she drank the beer. And she said, "That's my old man in there." It was kind of dark. So she said, "That's my man over there." This chick drunk the bottle, emptied the bottle, and took this Budweiser beer bottle and held it up and zoomed this beer bottle across the floor and hit this brother in the head sitting there with a white girl. And I'm like, oh my God. When that bottle cracked the back of that brother's head, all the white girl that he was with, everybody stood up. And they were coming after this chick. That started a brawl in there. And I'm yelling across the room, "Get under the table, get by the wall." Look, it was a terrible stampede in there. And everybody just went for that one door. Ethel fell in the floor. We helped her tail up. But when I finally got out of that hole, that boy was standing there, Kevin Ferguson was standing there in a deputy uniform. And I said to him, "Are you paid to patrol inside, outside, or the whole perimeter?" That's when that sucker pepper sprayed me in my face, double thrust punched me in my chest twice like Bruce Lee, tried to break every bone in my chest. I weighed about 135 pounds. That nigga hit me so hard after he had pepper sprayed me. I had my hands up trying to get the stuff out, and he hit me in my chest so hard that it knocked me 10 feet across the porch. When I came down, he came over with the handcuffs. I was hollering and screaming. It was about 50 people standing outside, and they saw what he did to me. He stormed across the porch, pulled the handcuffs off on his side, put the handcuffs on me, and pulled me off of this porch that had to have been 5 feet high. It's over there with the Manchester Club where it used to be over there. He pulled me off the porch there. This nigga had never seen me a day in my life. He handcuffed me, made me drop 5 feet to the ground, pulled me like a piece of trash across the yard with all of these people looking, and his other hand was on the gun. When he pulled me over the grass, over that sidewalk, and I had a dress on, and I looked down, I could hear Lady E laughing. She had that deep laugh, just laughing. Instead of her going to dial 911 to help me, that bee was standing there laughing. And all I saw was when I hit that ground was her shoes. She had duct tape around her shoes holding her together. And I said to her, "You a real bee, but remember, you gonna get yours." He dragged me on across the part of the curb with the grass, pulled me up by one hand, threw me in the ambulance. And the first thing, he had even had the nerve to call an ambulance for me. So I'm thinking, well, the ambulance gonna send me a bill. They never did. They never sent me a bill. When he threw me in that ambulance, and I swear on my life, I had never seen that nigga before a day in my life. It hurt me so bad. The first thing they started doing was pouring all this medicine, chemical fluid in my hair to break that pepper spray down because it was burning like hell. That's the kind that the police use. And they took my blood pressure. My blood pressure was 200 on the top and 150 on the bottom. They say she getting ready to go into a cardiac arrest, and I was just crying. But there were some people, when they released me from that ambulance, they didn't even take me to the hospital. I ended up driving myself to Stewart Circle Hospital. That was my hospital back then. And they said, Miss Parham, what in the world happened to you? I told them that I had just been brutally attacked by a deputy sheriff in uniform named Kevin Ferguson. And they did the x-rays and all of that. Later on, that morning, they released me. They told me to go home and get some rest. So I went home. I drove myself home because I did not want to call my children and get my children upset. But all I could hear was that bee laughing at me with that manly voice of hers. I say this to you, Ethel. In that new little car, when I started going back up to Emilio's, it used to be Rick's Cafe. When I first met Lady E, she said she was not going to start singing until she retired. But when I heard her voice, I'm like, well, we need to start you out singing now. I go out every week. I'm a musician. This is the way I relax. So I made that terrible mistake. I carried her around to Park Place. I carried her around to Emilio's. I carried her around to Bogart's. Everywhere I used to go, I took Ethel. And I introduced her as Lady E. Now I go back in the hospital because I'm having all of these heart attacks, massive heart attacks. And after I pull myself together, I happen to go to Emilio's because that was the way I released tension. I love jazz. I love blues. I'm the percussionist extraordinaire. I can do a lot of things. I play keyboards and I do vocals. And I went up in there, and there she was. She had taken over Emilio's. Everywhere that I had carried that witch, she had taken over. Her pictures all over the wall. So I want to talk about a dear friend of mine. She is a fantastic jazz and blues singer, and her name is Miss Gloria Glasgow. Miss Gloria Glasgow was one of the most powerful jazz and blues singers ever in the city of Richmond. Emilio's or Rick's Cafe was her spot. She was always the featured vocalist. When I got back up there, I see this witch, this wig-wearing witch, her picture on the wall, and I talked to Doc. He's called Dr. Ralph Branch. I was one of the keynotes. When I got back, I found out that they had let Gloria Glasgow go, and they were featuring this witch, Lady E. So I say this I'm going to read this to you. This is an evening of jazz with one of the finest jazz vocalists in the city of Richmond, Gloria Glasgow with her quartet. This is going to be held at the Old Holiday Inn on the Boulevard on September the 16th, 2012 in the Grand Ballroom from 5 to 8. There's going to be a dinner and show for $43 and a show only for $17. I'm telling you this, I'm saying this. Ethel, now your E stands for evil. When I asked you to go to court with me to testify against what this nigga had did to me, you burst out and laughed. You thought it was funny, okay? When you were at my house and all of those videos and things that I had disappeared, that I had borrowed from the City of Richmond Library, I had gotten out about 10 jazz and blues CDs because I was rehearsing. I was rehearsing my music. I had forgotten a lot. I had had a severe stroke on the brain, and my doctor said to me, the best way to get it back, Teddy, is to do what you know. Start over playing. I can't still remember all of my notes from my piano and all those things. You stole all of those CDs. I don't let anybody in my house. All of those CDs disappeared. Every week, 2 and 3 and 4 times a week, you would come to my house. When you came from the Eastern Star meeting down on Brooklyn Park Boulevard, you would come to my house. I used to cook you dinner, your son Pierre dinner, for many, many years. And then you finally got to meet my friend Teddy. I was engaged. And you wanted to have a foursome. And I wasn't into that sex game. Then I met your lesbian girlfriend, Carolyn, that had just come out the penitentiary. And you were doing her until you found out she had AIDS. No, I am not a lesbian, Ethel. And you are, if you take that wig off, people will really see who you are and what you are. You take off them bangle bracelets, they will see. And I'm talking about you when I went over to the regular social club. I used to go there, heard you there. Out dancing with a friend, I was on the floor. I took my full-length fur coat off. If any of you know what a soie curl fur coat full length is, then you know that was expensive. I put my coat on the chair where Ethel was. I'm going to try to forgive this witch. I put my coat on and went to dance. When I came back, my coat was gone. You and all your criminal friends sitting there. And I looked at you and I said, where is my damn coat? You didn't say anything, but you saw who took my coat off of that chair and you carried it all the way in the back. I didn't know this at first because I asked my friends who are police officers, I said, lock it down. These ghetto tail girls are not going to get away with my fur coat. So they locked the door and turned the lights on. And God had it so I looked around. I scanned. That's what I do. That's how I see things that other people don't see. I was taught to scan. There was my fur coat. God had the arm of the coat hanging down. And I went back there to the chair and you losers had the nerve to pile all of your coats on top of my fur coat. But the arm was hanging out and I want to thank you, Jesus, for that. Because when I saw my coat and you tried to hide my coat, which I went back there and snatched the arm out and pulled my coat out and threw the rest of those coats in the floor. You are a liar, a cheat, and a thief, as good as I've been to you. And I thank God for all those people that cared enough about me to give me their addresses and phone numbers, and they went to court and testified against this guy. This guy, after he had brutally beat me, he even wrote up a ticket saying that I had obstructed justice when I had done nothing. Craig Cooley, lawyer/substitute judge, heard it all. When he heard it, he said, oh my God, she is not the first person that this guy had beat. He's standing up in court. Well, I tell you right now, in the name of the Lord I serve, I'm asking you, Father God, to take all of them down. Kevin Ferguson has written a book. This nigga done called himself a hero for the police writers. I want you all to know that he is no hero and he is a zero. And guess what, brother? The same way you beat me 275 pounds to 135, you look like a quarterback on the Dallas Cowboys, you're going to get yours. You are going to get yours. You might not get it from me, but you're going to have your ass beaten the way that you beat me. And I've done research and I found out that you have beaten many a woman at that jail. But just remember, I was not beat at the jail. I was beaten outside of that restaurant/hole in the wall. Now, here is a copy of his little book that he calls Generosity or Justice. Now look what this sucker says. Win a battle, lose a war. This book is based on a true story, which is a bald-faced lie, about a deputy sheriff who was injured and wrongly accused of an incident while on duty. This nigga, the inmates beat this nigga's tail in the jail. Do you hear what I say? When I told on my other TV show that this nigga had beat me down, some of the inmates got him in there and fixed his tail. They beat him. He said, terminated from my 14-year career. He was forced to prove his innocence and clear his name. He was simply performing the job so well, he was so well trained and dedicated to do. After his termination, Officer Fat Daddy was very confused about what to do next. He had lost the only job he truly loved, which was beating women's ass. He had lost the only job he truly loved and enjoyed, and felt betrayed by the system he respected. Left a conundrum of thoughts of all he had been through, including figuring out how he would take care of his family. Screw your family, nigga. You don't care about nobody else's family. You beat innocent women. Your family going to drop dead right along with you. He fought to be a man. He fought to be understood. But most of all, he fought for justice. You're a liar, a cheat, and a thief. So on his own, he took on an organization to get his job reinstated. He is a liar, a cheat, and a thief. This is one dangerous nigga. And if any of you women have been brutally beaten by this sucker, I want you to give me a call near the end of the show. I don't have long, and I have got a lot to tell you. Now, I want to tell you about this dangerous demon called Sharon Smoot that lived behind me. This thing lived on Ellen Robinson Street. You can pull it up on the computer. She lived on Ellen Robinson Street. Now check this out. She was so dangerous, I wrote letters to the lawyer, the Commonwealth attorney that was supposed to be defending me after they have dogged me and beat me and broke up my cars. This is what I wrote about her. It is my professional observation that Sharon Smoot is a psychopathic and extremely violent black female. We are dealing with very crafty and dangerous female. She is corrupting daily the minors that live with her on the regular basis. This female corrupts and abuses those that she supposedly provides care for. Now, I went to social services. They did nothing. They turned all of that crap on me. She verbally abuses her children on a daily basis with vulgarity that I have never heard the likes of. But in exchange, she buys them nice toys. Parenthesis dangerous. She is very loud and boisterous and have many and must have attention. Then she throws rages of fits for the whole neighborhood to see and heard, and shows no sign of remorse. And then she allows the children out to abuse whomever or whatever. On many occasions, I have witnessed this. The children laugh, jump, cheer, and applaud her actions like trained seals at Disney World. They think these actions are funny, but I don't, that she is begging for help. She often abuses her neighbors. Now, when she moved out of that house that Felicia Jordan had, and she was put in there legally at 3127 Deal Avenue, Ellen Robinson had her moved in there. She knew how dangerous this chick was. But remember, Ellen, you gonna get yours too. They have no home training whatsoever, no self-esteem, and even at such a young age, I know that a couple of them can be as deadly as a black diamond rattler. There are about 15 to 25 members, gangster style, or friends driving the most expensive vehicles starting at $40,000. Loud music and much noise, and they congregate at the property on the regular daily basis. When I called Section 8, they said to me, she don't have all these people on her lease. We're going to investigate. Then they turned against me. Starting with the local school, there were 4 dropped off at the house, and then the VC from the VCU Head Start program. Then the terror begins. The older boy and older girl needs to be placed on medication and supervised 24 hours a day until they are better. Or if he is on medication, he is not taking it on time. There are 2 boys and 2 girls on a regular basis. I don't know if they're blood kin. Smoot brother told me that the majority of the children's parents were incarcerated, and she gets paid for keeping them. He said it's about 28 of them, and he could not begin to name them all. When school is out, she allows them to come outside and do whatever they want to do, from throwing stones to moving vehicles, breaking windows, throwing eggs, flattening tires, and taking down street signs while having these seniors' cars towed. They go over to the church, that's Leonidas Young Church. This letter was sent to me. I sent it to Mike Holloman, the dirty lawyer, Commonwealth attorney, McEacham wife, Colette McEacham. She gave this information to the lawyer to use against me. And she's a nasty thing. Here's a letter that I wrote to the neighbor across the street from her, Paula, on 5th of October 2008. I came to you for help by asking you to write up an evaluation on our neighbor, Sharon Smoot and clan, residing at 3127 Deal Avenue. As of this day, I have received nothing, not even a phone call. You told me about the things you witnessed as far as the children and her visitors. By us both working on a professional level in the substance abuse field, I figured that you would have been willing to work with me, simply because it is impossible for you to keep an eye out on your home and work on a job. I shared quite a bit of information concerning your clients that you would have never known about if it had not have been for the concern for your safety. That's just part of the letter. Then I wrote a letter to this nigga Leonidas Young at that church behind me. He had the nerve to marry her. She gonna come out to church talking about, B, I got married. She got married to a kingpin, Darrell Washington, straight out the penitentiary, moved dead in the house. Pastor Young, I'm coming to you for help by asking you to write up an evaluation on our neighbor Sharon Smoot and the clan residing at 3127. You've told me about the things you witnessed as far as she, the children, and her visitors. Both of us working on a professional level, I figured that you would be willing to work with me simply because it is impossible for you to keep an eye on your church as I have done for years before you were there. Were blessed with it. I've shared quite a bit of information and I need your help. This nigga never called back, but he wedded her. That boy Darrell married a witch. And I'm not afraid anymore, Ellen Robinson, because I found out you paid for that. And here's a letter that I wrote to a lawyer that I thought that was going to help. His name is Chris Winslow in Petersburg. Chris, here is some of the evidence that I've been trying to get to you. I have no funding, as I stated. I really appreciated you taking on my case pro bono. Actually, I would have been an attorney by now and helping other indigent persons like myself if my career hadn't have been sabotaged. Now, this lawyer picked out by John Monet, dirty ass John Monet, when I got in court, they wouldn't let me say a thing. So my show was a little bit late today, but I had to get this information. Now I want to read about, and all my people of color, you have to listen, the Freemasonic roots of the evil Confederacy, the Ku Klux Klan, B'nai B'rith, and the ADL. The truth about the Confederacy. Its origin was as a British Freemasonic conspiracy that was nothing good there was nothing good or romantic about the Confederacy. The truth about B'nai B'rith origins as a Freemasonic Confederate spy organization. The truth about the Masonic origin of the Ku Klux Klan, the role of the insane Supreme Grand Commander of the Scottish Rite, Albert Pike, initiating the Ku Klux Klan. Now, this cracker, Albert Pike, has a statue standing in Washington, D.C. at their Hall of Justice. Black people go and eat lunch. They don't know who this sucker is. And it is a deadly thing. You're sitting at the feet of a Confederate masochist. He works with all of these people that are against people of color. Their job is to kill out black people. And I was on Broad Street Wednesday when the white boy rolled down Broad Street in a red pickup truck with the Confederate flag flying on both sides out the back end. And he hollered, "I'm going to kill you niggers." And I wanted to holler back to him and let him say, "This time we got guns." Yes, good evening. See, don't waste my time. This is what I'm saying. Hold those calls. I want to give this information out, please. I did a lot of work with Mr. Dodd Ellis from the City of Richmond Building Code Inspector. Because of Mr. Dodd Ellis and Claude Cooper, Richmond Redevelopment and Housing, 200 and some people went down. They were fired. The head man was given an ultimatum to either quit his job or resign. This sucker resigned, but Richmond Redevelopment needs another investigation by the FBI. I've got a ton of pictures to show. All of this needs to go down. Ellen Robinson paid these people to come in, destroy everything that I had. I even had to call the police who were corrupt when I cut my grass. You won't catch me out there alone again, I promise you. And Felicia, Jordan, you're going to hell. And I'm asking you not to call on this phone unless you're serious, because I pray for my God to take you all down. I can get your phone numbers after the show and I can call you. So I want to talk about my driver's license that was illegally taken away from me. It has been over a year, and Ellen Robinson, all those house niggas with city council have illegally taken my driver's license. It was not to run out until the year 2016. I have a copy here. They said that I owed all of these fines and fees. I must be on Section 8 again. You all check your driver's licenses, because a lot of you all are riding around with a license and they have suspended your license, and all these niggas want you to do is roll up on a roadblock and you're going to jail like they did in Highland Park. It is a terrible thing. If you want to talk to me, you can hit me up at teddyparham@yahoo.com. You can go on my Facebook page. Protect your children. Keep your children out of those deadly schools. The gases are killing your children. That's why so many of your children come and they got headaches. They seem like they're hyper. They are killing your children, and all of these niggas on the school board, these Uncle Toms, are being paid to kill your children. Wake up. Leave the dope alone. Protect your children. That's your job. Yes. Yes.
I was calling about when you were talking about the
Can you turn your volume? Can you turn your volume down a little bit, baby, please?
Okay, hold on.
Volume down a little bit, baby, please.
I was talking about the taking your driver's license illegally and then saying that you owe all this money.
Yes.
Yeah, my grandma is going through the same thing. She got her license taken and then told them that that she owed them $15,000.
That's right. They want all the brothers and sisters on bicycles and walking so they can have their way. Get your grandmother, get somebody to email me at teddyparham@yahoo.com and leave her contact information and we'll talk. What we have to pull is a class action lawsuit. As a matter of fact, today I went down to the mayor's office and left a copy of the receipt where I paid all of this money that they claim that I owe them, but I don't owe them. They want to keep me out there walking. I'm handicapped. I'm disabled because of the ass beating that I took. But my God say, stand up and be whole again. So get grandmama to call me, baby. Write down teddyparham@yahoo.com and let her email me and leave me the information. All right, baby? We can file a class action suit for all of those that children have been used and abused and on all this Ritalin and sick coming from school every day. Hit me up on the email. Let's get a class action suit going, because Dwight Jones and them niggas at the city council, them Uncle Tom serving as, are not going to help you save your children. Their job is to kill your black children out. All right, darling?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Don't be afraid, because they scared me the first time so bad. I went through a whole year of these devils breaking my windows. Sharon Smoot with her black tail. Every week, every day, there was a bloody Kotek thrown in my yard. Bloody tampons in my yard. She pulling up against my house telling me to suck her bloody pee. I'm not sucking nothing, boo. You get that nasty husband of yours to suck you off, because I can't do nothing with your girlfriend. Never have and never will. And you still working at that McDonald's up there on West Broad Street across from Target? The young lady told me she saw you the other day and she threw the food away. You're just nasty. And I've got many pictures of the violations, many concerns of other citizens, decent citizens, that they wrote up to the city of Richmond. You should have been out of that house. You're just nasty as you can be. So I want you all to know that God is good. When you serve a good God, you can expect results. Help me pray for these demons. All those bad children that she got over there are robbing and raping people. The Mangum boys, their mother Kim Parker was in the penitentiary, the jail, the dad in the penitentiary. The city of Richmond have allowed these young thugs, teenagers, to break up everything, rob grown people, double bank grown men all over there on Detroit Avenue. Ellen Robinson, you gonna belong to us. You have allowed that to happen to us. These niggas came into Highland Park. Highland Park was beautiful. We were poor, but we took pride in what we had. You allowed Felicia and these niggas from Section 8 to come in here and tear up our neighborhood, and you caught my friend, that Kim, that she saw them break the windows out of my car. But she made that mistake. She didn't know how deadly and dangerous you were, and she came over there and told you that your children had broke the windows out of my car. And what did you say to her? Who in the hell you think you are, Miss Neighborhood Watch? But you went over there with your 6 friends because you a coward, and you beat that girl damn near to death. You broke ribs. You knocked her teeth out. Nigga had on the ground with a gun on her face. Why? Because she was my neighbor. We looked out for each other. But trust me, what comes around goes around. You remember that. Them little niggas you got over there killing and robbing and stealing the people. I called social services, child protective services. They all work for Ellen. I called the truancy office on Meadowbridge Road. They said they couldn't help me. They all work for Ellen. Well, Ellen, I hope you crash and burn. You got it coming. And that husband of yours, he can die right along with you. You tried to kill me, but my God brought me back. So I'm saying this to you. Your time is up. You and them devils. And I called social services and went down. And how you get custody of those children? Full-time felon, prostitute, heroin addict, thief, car thief, liar, cheat. How you get custody of them children and get me $1,000 a month for each one of them? I got the names of all of them. I'm blogging, China 8, China 6. I'm showing the documents. It is on. I am not afraid, boo. What go around, come around. And your little banger boy that pulled his pants down in broad daylight on the side of my house with me talking to my senior and showed his natural black butt and told me and his senior to kiss it and open his behind up and turn around with his little penis in his hand, talking about suck my ick to the bone. And I said to that little nigga, your ick is not a bone. It's a gristle. And you bring it over here, Miss Teddy will do it for you, right? I'd have killed that little nigga if he'd have come over there. You hear me? I'd be in jail right now. But all those crooks working with you, I hope in the name of Jesus you all die in your sleep. Your mama, your daddy, and everybody that did that crap to me. Dwight Jones with your lying, cheating ass. Your mayor with your Confederate flag flying ass. All y'all niggas need to go down. You boule, black boule. Y'all look that up. B-O-U-L-E. See where these niggas coming from. They are the house niggas. They do the master's work. The slave master. That's why the plan is called the master plan. They're going to put all y'all in slavery. Grandma and granddaddy that be on that Haller Park bus, y'all be so tired. I feel sorry for you working 2 and 3 jobs, never been on a vacation. Well, those niggas are why. We got to pray that God take every one of them out on the school board. Every one of them except Marty and Reva on the school board. Take them out, Father. In the name of Jesus, protect us, your innocent people, because we're being beaten, lied, cheated on, and stolen from. So my thing is this. I have got a copy of this paper where, but I'll get to show it to you next time, where it's stamp paid on the bottom, DMV. So the chick that told me, well, you going to have to sue us. I am Miss B. I'm going to sue you all at DMV. I'm going to get a new car. Y'all going to pay me so I can move my house. I'm moving my house out of the city. And y'all can kiss this elbow right here. I don't have no respect for you.